Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Passport to the Paranormal. I'm joined by Joe. Hey, Joe, how are you doing today?
Hey, Heather, good to see you. How's things down
Good.
in Florida?
Oh, cold.
Is it really?
It is.
It's bad up here. I think it's like 18 outside.
Oh, no, it's been in the 60s, and people pick on me because I've been wearing sweatshirts and I've been running our fireplace.
60s, that'd be great. I'd be playing golf if it was in the 60s.
Yep. So yeah, actually, I was watching our intro and it reminded me, as much as I like the new intro I made, we really need to get a hold of Todd and have him back on the show and have him redo our intro because I missed the intro that he made for us.
I'm sure he would. I was talking to him last night. I was watching his show and I was just texting him back and forth, and I'm like, we gotta get together. All of us, the three of us. He did a great intro. I wonder if he'd let us have that back. No,
we can use it. It just has WLTK on it, so I got to figure out a way to cut it out.
Okay,
because it's since the station's no longer, we'd have to get rid of that. But I'll talk to him. I know he's back to doing stuff now that he's not as busy as he's been.
Yeah, no, it's good to see him though. He had a good show. He had Andrea Bloom on.
Yep.
Last night. It was a good show. I don't know if you caught it.
Mm-hmm. I saw part of it, but it was nice to see him
the last half hour.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if I'm just sitting at my computer, I'll throw a show on. I learn a lot that way. I learn a lot from other people.
You never join in on my Tuesday morning show, so yeah, I see how it is. No.
Well, I'm usually at dialysis or something.
and I never see you Wednesday night on my other show.
Well, you know what? You got to remind me because I'm a big dumb animal. I honestly don't remember.
Too many shows for you to keep up with.
You know what, Heather? It is the God's honest truth. If it wasn't for you, I'd forget about our show.
I'm sure you would.
You do everything for me, and I love you for it. And I want everybody to know that it's all due to you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here.
I try. And actually, before we bore our guest backstage and she falls asleep on us and we forget about her, I do want to bring her in. For those of you who don't know, we'll let her do her own introduction and introduce who she is. But I'm super excited to have her here today. We've been talking back and forth for quite some time via text, and it's actually kind of nice to see her face to face to a point. Because the way the world is today, this is how we meet face to face. So
she's a really great lady, and she's super smart and a good friend. So glad she could make it.
So Laurissa, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hey, how are you? I'm silencing your phone. Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Jeez.
I was going to say, Joe never does that. Or
nobody calls me anyway.
Well, guys, it's 9 o'clock at night, and I have a rule, and only Joe is allowed to break it.
Yeah, but do you have an I Love Joe Franke sticker yet? If not, we got to get a hold of Jeff.
No, I don't. Hi,
Heather
Alan.
needs one too.
But seriously, I have to silence my phone. It's terrible. Joe calls me like after 9. Him and a few other people, but other than that.
I get the text messages from Joe that say, "Are you awake?"
I
don't want to wake you up, but
the text message woke me up.
No, I actually get calls though. I think people live in other time zones and I just forget. Like it's
right.
It's
I do have to say, when I moved to Vegas, I completely forgot time zones, and I called my mom at like midnight, and she was still in Florida. And she thought something, dastardly, we were in the hospital or something because we were calling her so late.
I called my friend in New Zealand once, and it was 11 o'clock in the morning here, but it was 3 o'clock in the morning there. Thank God she didn't hear the phone ring. I didn't wake anybody up, but I'm like, oh, God, I forgot there's a 16-hour time difference.
I think Alan came out here one night and I was on the phone with Joe. It was like 2 a.m. He's like, who are you talking to?
Sorry, Alan. Forgive me, please. I'm a
you
big
didn't say. That is what it is.
And
we started talking at 8.
Yeah, a 6-hour conversation. That's about right.
I put my glasses
back. Then I'd be kicking him off the phone by then. I'd be asleep.
Hey, that is a very good point. All right.
Yep. Oh, no problem. Yeah, I remember the one night that Joe and I were doing our show, and it started at 10 at night. And we did a 2-hour show. And then we ended up extending it another hour because we were having so much fun. So he's a night owl.
He could talk about.
I like to keep my audiences riveted. Well, I mean, there's so much to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Anything and everything he talks about.
Oh, yeah. And actually, we brought you onto the show for a reason. And for the viewers that don't know who you are, could you just take a moment to introduce yourself? And one question I like to ask everybody I bring on my shows is, what got you into the paranormal?
Oh, okay. Well, do you want to start with that, or do you want me to start with who I am?
Wherever you want to start. But those are the two questions I like to start with.
Heather said I got to be good and I got to keep my mouth shut. So.
All right. So I'm Laurissa Rex, and I run Third Eye Event Productions. I started with Palmerton Area Research Alliance, and that's a paranormal team based out of Palmerton, Pennsylvania, which is in the Pocono region. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I'm a retired Army officer. I did just under 20 years, got out on a medical. No, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a mother. No, thank you. I'm a mother of 4. I'm married. I teach in the Pennsylvania School District. And that's pretty much me. That kind of sums it up. I do the Haunted Mafia now too. I do host another podcast called Para Ops. I'm doing the Wilson Castle Paracon and Roaring 20s Ball and Psychic Fair, which Heather and Joe are both guests of. Yep. So thank you for that. And, I got into this because I'm also a psychic medium, and I was born that way. And I kind of, I realized that very young. I'm also part of the Warren Legacy Foundation. I'm one of their psychic mediums. And Joe is my boss. He's my boss.
I'm sorry.
He's my boss.
Stop laughing.
I'm in the Northeast region, so that's my boss. That's how I got into this. When I was in the military, you can't really tell people in the military that you see dead people. It's not a thing. You can get locked up for that. So I had to
like saying hi to your friend Jack at an airport.
Right.
Hi, Jack.
Yeah. So I went in the Army when I was young. I was 17. So, I got out in my 30s, in my mid to late 30s. And, at that time, I actually moved to Easton, Pennsylvania, and I moved across the street from a church with a graveyard. And I mean, very close, like within 20 feet. It was kind of living on an alleyway, if you can imagine. So that was a very active house. And I met Alan, and, he came to stay at my house. My house was very active. And I just told him one morning, and the next birthday I had, he bought me some equipment, and it was during COVID. And he was like, let's go and see what you can do. And we were getting EVPs right away. And then from there, just our team was born. And that was about 4 years ago. August will be 4 years.
Mm-hmm. So. Cool. Yep. And because one thing I've noticed is, of course, a lot of military and police officers that I've had on across all of the shows that I host is they all have the same experiences. They've experienced something. I know I have a friend here in Florida who worked the jail, and he's like, you can't tell other police officers what you're experiencing, but yet there's so many that are experiencing it, and they're so afraid to say anything. So it's interesting how that seems to be common.
So I have a friend, Michelle, who actually just was with me and Joe at SK Pierce. And it's so strange because she's not part of our community. She's not part of the paranormal community. But I met her in basic training, and she's from Philadelphia. So I know her about 25, 26 years now. And she never said one word to me, not one peep, that she was experiencing stuff in basic training. I was experiencing stuff in basic training. We were both terrified. And when I got out of the military and came out here, I'm only an hour and a half from Philly, and we linked back up, and she was part of my team for a little bit. And lo and behold, she's also a psychic medium. And I'm like, wait a second. Here I was scared, and you were there the whole time,
Yeah. And it's a similar story because Larry and I, my oldest and his oldest, they were in Boy Scouts together. And we worked really closely together. And during the entire time, I had already been researching it, and he's already had experiences in research. He had his own team even. And neither one of us knew about it until one day my mom said, hey, did you know Larry does this too? And it's like, oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting how that happens. So yeah, I hear that story a lot, and it makes for great stories on backgrounds, and what you guys need to do is write down your experiences from basic training together and publish a book.
I don't know if that would be the first book I'd write on the Army and the experience. I have a few others I'd write first.
I'll put it in the queue.
Well, do tell. We have a couple hours.
Yeah,
We want to hear some stories.
I don't need the Secret Service coming for me.
You got enough problems.
There's a whole list of people that'll come for her after some of the books. Secret Service, Men in Black.
It's funny. I worked at my job before I retired for 30 years, and there was a select few people that knew what I did on the side. It's not like you go around telling everybody because you don't know how they're going to react. I mean, things were different 30, 40 years ago. Today, it's like, oh, you do that too, huh? But back then, it's like, oh, geez, I didn't know you did that. That's weird, So, I mean, people probably don't like to talk about it that much for fear of ridicule. But these days with the internet, social media, the movies that come out, the TV shows, people think it's cool.
Yeah.
And it is cool. It is cool.
I don't know. The people that do my nails, they are terrified. When I told them, they actually saw something with me in it, and they were like, "You film a show?" I did one episode, yeah. And they were like,
So did I.
"Aren't you afraid?" And I'm like, "Yes, yes, I am. I'm very afraid. I am." Joe, tell you, I'm a chicken. I don't care. I am a chicken.
Just
And
nothing to be afraid of.
Joe, I'm a chicken. We talked about this at SK Pierce. I will say it to everyone. I'm a chicken. Huh?
I know. I want to go back there.
I know. I do too. I'm that person, Heather, that's afraid, but we'll still go. Like I'm afraid of heights, but I'll jump out of a helicopter. That's
I want Heather to come. I was telling Heather the other night, but she's in Florida. I'm like, great. You want to take a flight? I'll pick you up at the airport, but
we're trying to get 5 people to go. We need 5 people.
It's a very interesting building. It really is. But I believe, and this is my gut that's telling me this, that whatever is there, and there is something there, I believe it was brought in. I think it was brought in by some of the people that were, doing some stuff they shouldn't have been doing. It's just leave it at that. But, I mean,
a segue into our presentation we did last week. No.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk forever about cases and stuff, but that place is very interesting. I mean, I love old buildings anyway. All old buildings have a history, but when you start letting people in that are bringing in devices and doing certain things, even though they're told not to, that's when you can open doors.
Yeah, but an EVP session can do the same thing.
I absolutely, I totally agree with you. You're just opening yourself up, and if they could follow you or someone that may be the weakest link. We know what that's about, like Laurissa.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
you got to be careful, and people don't think about that when they're out there for the money shot. Trying to get footage or audio or video or photographic evidence. That's what they're there for. And then it's like, okay, now I've got an attachment. What do I do about it?
You're a parent. Investigator, deal with it.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people can't deal with it, and then they come looking for help.
Yep. I think a lot of the cases I've done in the past have been because someone did something wrong from a previous team.
True.
Yep. I learned really early on, like within the first year, probably within the first 6 months of investigating, I learned when I was in over my head really quick. And I quickly reached out to people that were in the field 30 plus years. I was doing my research and handing cases over to other teams because you can make such easy mistakes. And I went to one house and I knew just as a medium, I knew that I was so in over my head. I went to walk out of the house and I was going to get some sage and just some stuff to do. And as I was walking out to get my stuff, I had an investigator walking side by side with me, and I felt it coming because I could feel that energy building, and something just slapped me so hard clear across the face. You could hear the smack. And my head actually went like that. And the investigator next to me was like, "Holy, are you okay?" And no, I wasn't okay. I couldn't believe it. I got smacked in the face because it knew what I was going to do. And the woman was so shaken up by her experiences there. I knew that what I was dealing with was way beyond me.
Yep. Yeah. And that's good that you recognize that, because not a lot of people do. They still, even if they realize they're in over their head, they still go in and think they can do it themselves.
No, I stopped. I immediately was on the phone with a demonologist that has been in the field for a long time. People know who he is. And I was like, yeah, you got to take this case because I can't do it.
Yep. Yeah. I always joke that if people saw my speed dial, they'd be like, what the heck are you involved in?
For real. Yeah. So,
yep.
But a lot of, something else though, you don't want to scare your homeowners either. Like that was a really big case for me. Like that was a kind of a game changer, because walking into that house and what I saw was I'd never seen before. I literally saw this thing sitting on this woman's shoulders. And I was like, oh my God. Like, and you can't scare them. You have to act like it's normal. And I'm like, oh, hey. And she was literally screaming at me. It's on my shoulders. Its claws are in my shoulders. And I was like, you're going to be okay. No, trying to calm her down. I knew what I was seeing was in line with what she was feeling. And then to turn around and to go out and to have that happen. And she's like sitting right there on the couch, and to try and pretend that didn't happen. It was just so you don't want to panic them, Right.
Yep, exactly. I think we need to wake Joe up.
No, I'm listening intently because I've been through cases like this my whole life where, these people have something in their home or attached to them or a family member, and you get ABC Paranormal comes in, and, they don't know what they're doing, but they're playing with people's lives and their emotions. And how many cases have you heard where people said, well, you have a demon here? I'm like, you don't have a demon there. But it's like, well, why did they tell me I have a demon? Because they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
And they shouldn't be saying things to scare, just going to scare them, or to the point where people don't want to even live in their own house. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves, and I talk about this when I talk to audiences. I'm like, think about it. You're paying a mortgage or rent for your home is your castle. And now you're afraid to go into that home or go into a room in that home, like the laundry room. Like, oh, I'm not going upstairs until my husband gets home or whatever. I've had people sitting outside their homes when I showed up. And I'm like, well, you didn't have to wait outside for me. And I'm like, oh, you don't understand. I'm too afraid to go in. I'm like, this is your house, and many times it's nothing like they think it is. There may be something there that may not be. Maybe psychosomatic. How many TV shows do you watch? How many of these movies you go to? It's like, stop doing that, because a lot of it's up here. Now, I'm not saying they're making it up. I've said this many times before. It's very real in their mind, but now your biggest challenge is to talk them back off the ledge. And say, listen, trust me, please. You don't have a demon here. If you had a demon here, you would know it.
Right.
Things are not that bad. And a lot of this could be self-manifesting too. But every case is different. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. The hardest part is when it's your own team member, because I've been on a team where we did the investigation, and during the talking to the client and helping her find resources afterwards, she had said, what do you think it is? And a member of my team that I was on said, you have a demon in your house.
Oh my.
And I turned to them. I'm like, what the?
Yeah. Even if that was true, you don't say it.
No.
And if you're a medium and you're walking around someone's home and they're present, just take it all in, make notes, but don't say, "Oh, there's something over there, something dark and sinister." You're scaring the bejesus out of them.
No,
that's irresponsible at best.
Yeah,
it's irresponsible.
It was just an angry spirit. It wasn't a demon.
And I'm so glad you said that, Heather, because I can't tell you how many cases, 99.9% of the time, I have been in a house and it's a demon, it's a demon, it's a demon. This team came in and this medium came in and this person, I paid them X amount of money and they came in and they did this. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, no, it's just this. It's somebody trying to make communication with you, or you remodeled the bathroom and they're pissed. They don't like that paper, that wallpaper. Like it's something simple. And
yep. Yeah. No, in the one case, Joe and I talked about it before, it was the spirit was just upset that the people in the home were playing with the Ouija board. It wasn't the Ouija board that summoned something. The spirit that was still in the home was upset they were using it.
I was on a case. You know what? I've seen so much with cases with turmoil in homes where I've had spirits that are upset with turmoil in homes, fighting. There's too much fighting, like, yeah.
And that kind of stuff, negative energy, draws in other negative energy. I had a case.
But then you have the spirits that are looking over the people in the home and could be trying to protect those that are being victimized.
Very true. I had a case back in 2011 that I talk about frequently. It was a pretty bad case where the two sisters lived in the home. It was their mother's home. She had passed away about a year before in the home. It was the mother's home, and she left it to the two sisters. One sister was older and wasn't married. The younger sister had 5 children, ages 1.5 to 15, and the baby, the 1.5-year-old, seemed to be the epicenter of the activity and took the brunt of it, and they were terrified. However, the younger sister's husband had a drinking problem.
Lost Laurissa.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if she was having some internet problems because she
froze for a while, so I was expecting her to drop out.
I'll continue for those that are listening, but the husband, which was the brother-in-law of the older sister, had a drinking problem, and they hated each other. I mean, just hated each other. They would fight and bicker all the time, and he would leave the house, slam the door, and go down to the local bar or whatever, and then they'd come back, 3 sheets to the wind, and they had all this negativity going on in the house, and they had like poltergeist activity. It wasn't demonic, in my opinion, but also the 13-year-old daughter, we found out kind of later in, like after we had been working on this case for a couple of months, she was into the dark stuff. She was into black magic. She had some spell books and stuff like that she would use, and then the Ouija board. But and the Ouija board, in my opinion, Heather, I know we joke, we tease each other about this, but it wasn't being good purposes. It was being used for conjuring. Again, like you said, doing an EVP session is the same thing. You don't need the physical board, but
remind me not to invite you to my house and look at my witch bookcase.
I don't mind. I'd love it. But what I'm trying to say is the negativity in that home. I pulled the older sister outside. Sorry, my cat scratched at the door. I pulled the older sister outside in the driveway one night, and it's one of my demon cats. I got 5 of them, but they're all adopted, so I'm going to heaven. So I said to her, I said, listen, if you and your brother-in-law can't get along and come together as a family, I'm not going to be able to help you. I said, it's this negativity and this constant fighting and bickering. I mean, they were screaming at each other while we were there, and she's like, well, I don't care I said, he just left the house and he was already had a few too many. I said, he's going to hurt himself or somebody else. She's like, oh, I don't care. I don't care if he dies. Like, okay, well, I'm like, no wonder you have this kind of activity going on in the house. And we got a lot of good evidence from the house too, audio and some video evidence, which I do show. But my whole point is, obviously you ladies know that, and I'm just letting people know that are listening that, you need to come together as a family. You got to love each other. I mean, that makes all the difference, really, because if there are dark forces at work, they're sitting there on the sidelines just eating the popcorn going, oh, this is great. That's what they want. They want to cause disharmony. They want to destroy families. They want to destroy your marriages and your finances and your jobs, get you fired from your job. Because now you're an easy target. You're depressed. You're an alcoholic. You use substance abuse, drugs, sexual abuse, physical abuse. Those are what I call victim souls. I mean, they're easy targets. People like us probably wouldn't be so easy of a target because we're stronger. And I'm not talking about stronger physically, really. I'm talking about psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually. That's very important.
Yep. And actually talking about people coming together, one thing I did want to talk about before I completely forget is I don't want to talk about the negative things happening in the paranormal field because I know we're all dealing with the drama that's going on and unfolding throughout the paranormal field. But I wanted to take this episode to talk about some positive things that are happening in the field. So I don't know if, Laurissa, if you have anything positive that you can share to put out there into the world.
I would never do that, by the way, go on a podcast and be like, especially somebody else's.
Right. Well, I've been asked to, and I've said no as well. So.
Oh God, no. Okay, no. No.
Spread the love.
Yes. So sure. Where do I start? So we have so many things. Honestly, Heather, so many things. So the first one is 24 Hours in Hell. We have a show coming out, and I am so excited about this because I don't know if you follow Hell House. I don't know if you actually know about this, but it's the location is like home to probably every type of haunting that there is out there. And we spent 24 hours in there, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, I didn't make it through the night. Like, I'm the only one who didn't make it through, and it's my location. I tapped out. I'm terrified of that house.
When am I gonna get invited?
Well, it's a show, so eventually other people will be cast.
Sorry, I don't let the cat upstairs.
So that's a really positive thing that's happening because there's also a book that's coming out about it, and we've got Santiago Cirillo is going to be permanent cast. Dave Childers is permanent cast, and right now we have the trailer should be out any day now. Really, it's being worked on, and so that's just huge, and I'm super excited about it. The pilot episode is 2 parts, so and the first season should be out we're hoping by this year. We're hoping. That's that. Okay. Yeah, and then of course the Paracon, that's to help Wilson Castle. I mean, I love Wilson Castle. I'm in love with that place. Have you been to the castle?
I haven't, but I've talked to Monique about it, and I know they absolutely love it.
I'm obsessed with the castle, like obsessed with it. I've been there. I was at the castle years ago, like pre-COVID. And then I've gone back a couple times since, and we did an event there this past fall. And then we have another event prior to this event. So that's big. And then we just have a bunch of other events this year. So we do have a lot of positive stuff coming up. I have a couple of Paracons I'll be at. There's the women of the Lake Erie Paracon. That's gonna be, oh God, she's gonna kill me. Oh my God, she is gonna kill me, Heather. Oh my God. It's in Lake Erie, April 27th.
I was gonna say, I think she had one in April and one in June, if I remember correctly.
One is March 24th, and that's
March and April. Yeah.
Yes, that's the men's Paracon, and that's in Brushy Mountain. So don't kill me, Jen. Okay. I remembered that one, and I'm not even at that one. And then the other one is April 27th, and that's at Lake Erie. So get your tickets. And then I'm at the other Paracon is White Hill Mansion Paracon, May 11th with Dave Giuliano. I'm excited for that because that's for White Hill. And I love White Hill. Make it to that one if you ever can someday. That's a great location.
Where's that? White Hill. I've never heard of that one.
Hill, that's in New Jersey. You've got to get out there, Joe. You got to get out there.
Much.
I know. Like, what?
My wife doesn't let me get out much.
That's what you get for being a trophy husband.
I heard.
Oh,
I
you
heard
saw
that.
that?
I heard about
It's
that.
tough. It's exhausting.
Yeah. And then I was also invited to be a guest at Salem Paracon too. It hasn't come out yet, but I was invited to do that. So I was excited about that. So that's it. That's all I got going on.
That's a lot.
So anybody watching real quick, you guys have been quiet tonight, but we do appreciate you. I see you watching because I see the numbers of who's watching. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We're more than happy to answer any questions you have. And for some reason, there we go. My screen froze. But yeah, we're happy to answer any questions paranormal related. Sometimes unparanormal related. I know on my other show, I was asked about cooking tips on certain things at one point. We totally derailed. But yeah, we're here to talk about anything. And another topic that I always ask a lot of viewers that we have is, what's your favorite location outside of Wilson Castle? I'm going to make you pick something new.
Oh, gee. Well, Hell House. Stop it.
It's like picking your favorite child.
I couldn't do that. They all listen. They're all listening to this. No. My favorite location, honestly, it really is Hell House. I'm biased. But let's take that off the table for a second. We'll take Wilson off the table. USS Salem, hands down.
Yeah. And I remember, a while ago, I don't even know how long ago it was, but it was a winery. You stopped off on a roadside, just stopped at a winery once, and you fell in love with the place. Do you mind talking about that? You look shocked that I saw that.
No, I love wine. I'm not shocked.
I've been drinking it tonight, so we're good.
I'm getting hopped up on Diet Pepsi because I'm fat.
It is no secret that I love wine. Okay. So that is Valerie Hill, and I have an event there. And I want to plug Bianca Rose, by the way. Have you met Bianca?
No.
Oh, you'll meet her at Wilson Castle.
Okay.
She is
cool.
absolutely amazing. Just amazing. She's going to be the medium at Valerie Hill for the event. But that winery, so there's a story there. I got lost moving from Augusta, Georgia to Easton, Pennsylvania when I retired from the Army. I got lost, okay? I got off an exit and my car actually broke down somewhere in there. And I was like in I think it was Woodstock, West Woodstock, Virginia, is somewhere like that. And I'm like on a winding road in a back road and I end up at a winery, like on a piece of land. And I'm like, first of all, yes, if I'm going to break down, this is where I want to break down. And as I'm walking up this porch, I see this ghost, like I see ghosts. And I'm like, that's weird. But I go in there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to drink because I'm stranded. And I'm stranded at a haunted winery. Now, the people there, they knew it was haunted. I guess it had been on an episode of Ghost Hunters years before or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't in the paranormal at the time. Long story short, years and years later, when I'm in the paranormal, I get lost again and end up at this winery again. And I'm like, stop it. Like, what are the chances? And it's Valerie Hill. Well, they've got new owners and these new owners want to do an event. And I'm like, I'm your girl. I do events. Right. So we exchanged some information and then I went back and that's when you saw my live feed. I was there with my girl Marlena and we were setting up, doing preliminary for the event. So yeah, we're going back and it's amazing. It's haunted and it was owned by some general from the Civil War and yeah, crazy.
Yep. Yeah. We actually have a winery here that I'm the first Saturday in March, I'm doing a book signing. And it's their community event, but we're doing a book signing at the event. And then I'm going to talk. I'm like, I even told them ahead of time, I'm like, trust me, I'm going to pull you aside because it's known to be haunted as well. And they're in one of my books. So yeah, it's interesting how wineries are haunted. The spirits love spirits. And that's actually what someone said, spirits and spirits, nothing better.
Right. I joined their wine club.
That's a thing?
Yes, a wine club. Yes.
Like Jelly of the Month Club, or
it's a wine of the month club. Correct. Yep. I love it.
I was gonna say, Joe, didn't you know you could have like a box of wine sent to your house every month?
Oh no, unfortunately, I don't drink, but I am willing to start, especially after this interview.
No, but what I find out interesting about this winery is, and you got to come down and try it one time. Maybe we can talk to them about doing something with you. But they make their wine not from grapes. They make them from oranges, mangoes, and strawberries that are grown here locally. Yummy. Is what they make their wines from. They're not like strawberry flavored wine. They're actually made from the strawberries. So yeah,
you know what? It's orange wine, Heather. That sounds interesting.
Oh, oh my God. I've been drinking that wine from them for years. And every time we go to John's Pass, which is this little fishing village, they have a store. And I'm always going in there getting their wine.
Are you allowed to ship wine from Florida?
I know they can ship, but I can't ship.
All right.
I'll send you their website.
Awesome. Yeah. I love it. That's why I try not to yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't care. I'm not shy about it.
But that's okay.
What
about on your bucket list? What places would you like to visit that you've heard of that have alleged to be haunted? I mean, obviously I hear a lot of stories about places that I have a bucket list myself. I want to get out to the West Coast. I'd like to see Alcatraz.
Oh, I went to Alcatraz when I was in the Army. Yes.
Yeah. And did you pick up anything there?
Yes, I was terrified. Yeah, I was a kid though, so I was like 19, and again, I was in the Army, so I couldn't really talk about it. But yes, it's very scary, very haunted. Yes. So I would like to do the Queen Mary. I would love to do Myrtle's Plantation. I would love to do anything in New Orleans because I actually went to college 2 hours outside of New Orleans, and I never investigated because again, I went to college when I was in the Army, so I missed out on all those opportunities. So my bucket list is pretty much everything that's west of here.
Yeah,
which is the entire country, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of places that I don't like some of the places that have been highly publicized, like Waverly Hills, for example. I don't want to throw them under the bus, but would I like to go there and check it out? Yeah, but I don't want to go on a tour. I'd like to be left alone or with a small group of people.
They don't do that.
I know, and that's what I don't like. It's like very structured, I hear, where you go floor to floor to floor with a guide. I'm like, yeah, that's not how you investigate.
I did it 3 times.
At Waverly?
I did Waverly 3 times. The first 2 times, and listen, it's not like that, Joe.
That's what I heard. I don't know.
So we did it 1 time that way, and then 2 times they treated us. They knew who we were. The other 2 times we went back, and they let us go by ourselves.
With nobody else in the building? No other groups?
No, it's so big that like they knew who we were. So they were like, you guys can just go. Okay. So yeah, there were other people around, but it's big. So we were able to just roam on our own.
Do they have a gift shop there? That might even be funny.
It's not like that. No.
Okay. I mean, I haven't been there, so I'm not judging. I've heard stories.
No.
I've been invited
the team
there.
I was on, they went and they said that they had a gift shop with T-shirts.
I heard they had a gift shop that they kind of force you when you exit. You go through the gift shop.
I don't think. Well, we went a few I don't know. You got to ask Alan. I don't remember a gift shop where we went several years ago. Alan, was there a gift shop? Are you watching?
He's watching. Last time was so much better than Waverly. And Philip, my co-host on opposite Wednesday nights of tonight, says he loved Alcatraz.
Yeah.
So
I want to go tonight, there. Philip.
Yeah, we should road trip to Waverly, guys.
You guys need a road trip to Florida.
No gift shop when we went. Yeah. Oh, yes, I would love to do it. Check the facts and compare it to what the lore is. Quite different. Huh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I only deal with facts. I mean, when places get sensationalized, and I mean, I understand it's a money-making thing. I'm just not into that for myself. I've been invited there a couple of times, but unfortunately I couldn't, for whatever reason, go. But I'd like to get overseas to England.
Yes.
I'd like to visit the place where the Enfield poltergeist was. I believe there's a family that lives there now, but those are the kind of places I want to follow up on some of the old iconic cases.
I told you, Joe, we need to rent bikes and go pub to pub, drink a pint, and investigate.
I like how you think.
Yeah, we could do that.
You think like
I'll be the designated driver or cycler. But I mean, like these castles. Remember that show years ago? I forget the name of it, but they went to like Chillingham Castle, and they built it up to be so scary that nobody could spend the night there. And I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, but I would love to visit those places. I do believe that there's spirits there and stuff, but anything that's on TV, those kind of shows where they take like the average American family and they put cameras on them, so their cameras are faced at their face to get their reaction, and you see these people and they're probably genuinely terrified, but who knows if there's somebody in the other room making noises, I mean,
I yell at those TV shows because I don't want to see the person's reaction. I want to see the ghosts that they're seeing.
Well, yeah. I mean, even like,
so it's like turn the camera around.
My wife could tell you when she's home, because she works nights, so I'm usually by myself unsupervised. But before she goes to work, she'll hear me literally screaming at the TV. She's like, who are you yelling at? I'm like, show me your evidence. What is that? I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Where's the rest of it? Oh, well, that's all we have. And I'm just like, this is a crock, and
I remember there was, what was it? Paranormal State. They showed before they went to commercial, they did a flash of a room and they showed a hand coming out of an attic, but then they never referenced it the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like a lot of the TV shows. I don't watch them because I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of them are well done, but they need to say for entertainment purposes. They really should say that. What I don't like is when they show this stuff, whether it be TV or YouTube, and they're passing it off as, oh, this really happened. But yet, and then the ones that get that something may happen, whether it's real or not, and they get scared and they run. And I'm like, where are you going? What are you afraid of? A noise?
I was going to say, Laurissa would be the one running. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. No, you're not kidding. You're right. You're right.
I don't know. Don't mind me. I've been doing this way too long, and I've seen way too much real stuff.
Do I need your banner?
No, shut up.
I love alcohol. Oh, hi, Ken. That's my buddy.
Welcome to Joe's Soapbox. Well, Ken, let's get Alcatraz and let's get the Queen Mary. Ken's working on that for us. Yes. I think we got to go out there and
I know he's a little bit off in left field, but if we do the Queen Mary, I can get us into the Omen house because I know David Omen personally.
I'd like to get into the Winchester house. I've never been there.
Let's work on getting Ken off the West Coast, first of all.
Yeah, Ken does need to come to the East Coast.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, I'm getting tired of this. Like, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I love New England. There's a lot of places right here in New England I haven't been to.
And Philip shared an article. He says he's not a fan of the author, but the information is good.
Yeah, well, I want real stories. I mean, real, true stories, and even if people are terrified, but like the Bridgeport haunting. I mean, that was a real terrifying case back in the early 70s.
I don't even know what case that is.
Well, it's the house on Lindley Street. Just to Google it. It's all over the internet. I mean, I wasn't involved in that. I was like 4, but the house on Lindley Street, and the Enfield poltergeist. I'm actually trying to get a hold of Janet Hodgson or Margaret Hodgson. I'd love to have them on our show.
Yep.
If they still want to talk about it. I heard through rumor mill that they don't like talking about it anymore, which is I respect. If that's the case, but.
And what's funny is Florida, with the research I've been doing recently for the books, it's so much paranormal locations down here that people don't talk about. There's so much untapped locations here because people don't know about them.
Yeah, once they know about them, then they become flooded with,
But if we're the first to know about it, and
I don't know. I spend most of my time helping people, families that really have, whether they have a paranormal affliction or not, they think they do. And, a very small percentage of the cases actually are paranormal in nature. I tell people, I say, look, demonic infestations are extremely rare and possession cases are rarer still, but they do exist.
right, yeah,
And
and that's where I don't do residentials anymore because Marcia just broke my heart when I helped her with her paranormal investigation, which actually brings up a question. When you do investigations as a medium or a psychic, if you can't, I'll give some backstory real quick. We had a client, I worked with her on the previous team I was on, and then worked with her when we moved to our own team. And we did 2 investigations, no paranormal evidence whatsoever, outside of an EVP of her saying, get out. And then we had a video camera on her and she wasn't saying anything. But then when we told her there was no paranormal activity to back up her experiences, that she needed to continue with medical help and then reach out to us once she got help because we couldn't help her anymore. She was on the phone crying, I'm not crazy. And that broke my heart. So I've stepped away from doing residentials because the 75-year-old woman just completely broke my heart. Have you ever had a case similar to that where it made you think, I need to stop doing this because I just can't handle the heartbreak?
No. I had a case where I couldn't help her and nobody was really willing to step in, and it was heartbreaking. But eventually we did get somebody that was willing to step in and help her. And that the fact that I couldn't find somebody to help her was a lot. That was a lot. But it never made me want to walk away. No, it made me want to help her. It gave me more drive, honestly.
Right.
And actually it kind of led me to the Warren Foundation a little bit. It made me seek them out. So,
right. Yeah. And that was the hardest part, is because it's like so many people I had brought in to consult on this case, pastors, exorcists, just regular paranormal people, even non-paranormal people. And it was so hard to convince her that what she was experiencing, from what she explained to us, was she was having tactile hallucinations, which was caused by her diabetes, her extreme anemia, and her high blood pressure. So that was all medically related. And she refused to go to a medical doctor because she said she wasn't crazy. But then on the other hand, she had also had a pastor locally in her home, which surprised me because this was in Las Vegas. And the pastor came in, stepped 2 feet inside the door, and stepped out and said, I'm not doing this because you have a demon in your home. He's too strong for me. Good luck. After charging her $200.
No.
Anybody that charges money to help people is a fraud.
Right. But we had her on camera telling
me.
us, the spirit's sexually assaulting me right now and I can't stand still. But on video, while she's saying that, she's standing still. So there was no evidence to back up what she was experiencing. So on our end, there was nothing really we could do after 2 investigations. And we cleansed her home between myself and this other person like 10 times.
Yeah. No, that's tough. That's tough. Especially if they won't get medical help, what are you?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, if you're coming to us or me or anybody for help, okay? And if you're truly scared and you truly feel you have some kind of paranormal affliction, then why wouldn't you be willing to do anything we ask you to do?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest problems in all the years I've been doing, is just like, I want to help you as best I can to the extent of my knowledge. However, if I ask you to do something and you say, I can't do that, or it won't let me do that. Well, what do you mean it won't let you do it? You have your free will. Even God will not interfere with free will. You have free will. Don't tell me that something's got that much power over you that it won't let you do something. But we ask people, look, can you get a full medical and psychological workup? And it's not, we're not saying you're crazy, but there may be an underlying issue that even you're not aware of. You know, you have to dot all your I's and cross your T's. You know, I tell people before I even start an interview, I said, look, I've got to be honest with you. I'm going to ask you some very tough personal questions. Are you okay with answering them? You know, things like, you know, have you ever been sexually abused or physically abused, or you or anyone in your family have a problem with alcohol or drug addiction? I mean, I'm not asking you because I just want to know. You know, I'm trying to rule things out or piece the pieces of the puzzle together to see if I can get a picture of what may be going on. And if they're resistant or unwilling to answer those questions, I'm like, then why did you call me? You know, I'm sure we've all experienced that. It's like, look, I want to help you. And then you get those people that they won't do this, but then they're like, oh, nobody's willing to help me. Well, yes, they are, but you're not willing to help yourself. It's like, you know, I said, I'm not going to show up with a proton pack on my back in the ecto chamber here. That's Hollywood. I said, people say, well, I need you, Heather, I need you to come over. Or, Joe, I need you to come over and and remove this thing from my house or from me. I'm like, no. That's not how it works. We'll help you remove it because you need to take charge. You need to dig your heels in and you take charge. This is your home. This is your family. This is your life. You know, we got your back. We'll advise you, you know, we'll guide you. We'll do everything we can, but we're not going to say, okay, step out of the way. I got this. I mean, that's not how it works.
Yeah, and we did everything we could to help her, even offering her that advice. I gave her, you know, ways to you know, protect her home, you know, and even she said to me that, you know, she didn't believe in, you know, pagan rituals, but she trusted me. So we went ahead and did pagan rituals in her home to try to cleanse the home because she had tried every other method possible. But the one thing we also found odd was not only was she not going to the doctor, we weren't allowed to investigate or go into the son's side of the home. We were only allowed to go into her side of the home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was our other red flag.
Why was that though? Was that just because the son
She wouldn't give us a reason. She just said we're just not allowed there, and we tried to push it. But then even after, because I still continued to reach out to her after we kind of closed the case to make sure she was okay and to check in on her. But then another friend of mine who has a team out in Vegas, her son reached out to him and said, hey, my mom's having issues. Can you come help us? So if the son wasn't willing to do it, why was he trying to get her help?
Yeah. And that's where you hit these walls where you can't go any further. And that's why I set them up right from the get-go. It's like, look, if I ask you to do something, I expect you to do it. You know, or if I suggest something, or you know, like the case we've been working on this case for almost a year out of Oklahoma, and this woman, I mean, she's no closer now to getting help than we were a year ago because she just refuses, you know, and she uses this thing, whatever this attachment is, as a crutch. Well, it won't let me do this. It won't let me do that. I'm like, well, no, that's not true. She made some headway and then she slid all the way back. She gets involved with the wrong people and starts listening to them and then has the audacity to say, you guys aren't helping me. You know, there's sometimes where you just got to wash your hands of it or you'll drive yourself crazy. And I hate to say that, you know, I can count on one hand how many people I've cut loose over the years, but it's like, look, you need to want to help yourself to let anybody help. It's like if you're a smoker and you want to quit smoking, I'm just a pain in the ass asking you to quit smoking. If you don't want to quit smoking or quit eating chocolate chip cookies, that's my advice. You're not going to stop. You're not going to stop unless you want to do it. So if you want the help, you need to be willing to listen to the people that are trying to help you. Say, look, I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers, but as a team, we've got a lot of resources we can lean on. You know, we've got mediums, we've got doctors, we've got attorneys, we've got financial people. You know, we have social workers, people that volunteer their time to help you. But to take almost 10, 11 months to work on a case where the client is unwilling, you know, to do what you're asking them to do, when you're not taking a dime to help them, that's why I say, look, if anybody charges for this kind of stuff, you know, aside from people that have businesses, I'm not talking about those people, but You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get myself in trouble here. People getting angry at me, but you know what I'm talking about.
I need a new banner. Send hate mail to Joe Franke at yada.com.
Look, and I'll send you a love letter back. I love everybody. I just want to help people that really want or need the help. You know, that's all.
Yep.
I'll shut
You're
up.
gonna get in trouble.
Huh?
Happens every time when I get the hate mail.
That's okay. I send that to my wife.
So I'm sure as a psychic that you don't often use equipment outside of your own body because you trust your own body. But what is your go-to piece of equipment that you do use when you use one?
I don't use it. So I'm like
the phone and you call Joe. No.
Yeah. No.
Nobody calls me.
Yeah. I like REM pods. I just love them. I don't know why. I'm obsessed with them. Just all different kinds. I like the Pooh Bear ones. Just like REM pods.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I was going to say, if you like REM pods, have you tried using, I haven't used them yet, but someone told me to use them, there's a hamster that will repeat back what you say. And it's a kid's toy. It's a kid's toy. You can find it on Amazon. It's similar to the parrots that you find at like Cracker Barrel that will repeat what you say. But I know people who have used the hamsters on investigations, and all of a sudden it'll just start talking when no one's been talking.
Find it.
It's on Amazon, and I think when I looked it up, I looked up talking hamster replay or something like that, and it popped. It's it's under kids' toys. It's like $14.
And it's a REM pod?
No, it's actually a kid's toy, but people use it like a REM pod.
Oh,
I'm gonna get it.
Demonic hamster.
That's ridiculous. I need that.
But it's amazing that these kids' toys work just as well as these expensive tools that people can buy. I have a twister, like a twister mat, and I set it up with like a kid's like laser game. It's like a triangulated laser, and we'll put like a trigger object in it, and we'll tell them like left hand blue circle, and like then that laser will go off. We do that too. Yeah, that's I use fidget spinners.
How do you use a fidget spinner? What do you tell them?
You put it down, and I have them all different colors, and they all light up on top of it, so you can see them in the dark. But I'll ask yes and no questions, and I'll be like, if it's answers yes, hit spin the green one. If it's no, spin the red one. And we've actually, I had someone. What it was is we were hosting a fundraiser for McCaw School of Mines out in Nevada. And a guest who was there came out and she's like, I want to show you a trick. I'm like, sure, I'm open to anything. And she pulled out a fidget spinner and she found a flat rock and put it on there. And we made sure there was no breeze around it or anything. And they're heavy enough to where a slight breeze won't make them move on their own anyway. And she had said, if you're here, can you spin this like this? And she showed it how to spin it. And then she stopped it and she's like, okay, it's your turn. And slowly this fidget spinner started spinning. And I'm like, oh my God, my new favorite toy.
Oh, that's it. I'm going to get it now. That's it.
But she lives in the house at the time. She bought a church, and I can't remember where she bought the church at, but she used to live in the home across the street from Zach Bagan's Haunted Museum. And she would set these out on her dresser and just start talking to the spirits and have them spinning them in her home. And she would just have them spinning. And that's how she communicated. And she shared that with me. And ever since then, I have fallen in love with that idea.
I'm definitely ordering the fidget spinner and the hamster. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I'm very non-techie. So if I can find things that we use in everyday life to use for paranormal investigations, I'm on it.
I'm writing it down. 100%. I'm writing it down.
I was going to say, if you don't get them before the event later this year, I'll be bringing them with me.
I have an event in like 10 days. Fidget spinner and hamster.
Yeah, I know my fidget spinners. I got 6 light up ones, all different colors for like $14 or $15. And they're the best tool I've ever brought on an investigation with me.
Oh yeah. I will be getting that.
And Joe's falling asleep again.
I'm not falling asleep. I'm just.
Are we boring you? Do we talk about something?
No, not boring me. It's just whatever.
Alan, start ordering stuff.
Fidget spinners. Look, if you've got an intelligent haunting, you don't need these gadgets. It'll communicate with you. You know that.
Yep.
Yeah, with the fidget spinner and the hamster.
No, you don't need that. Use pots and pans or something. You know, I was on an interview once when I have it's off camera here, but I have like a ghost with a sheet on it. And behind me, the thing just blew upwards, like almost like the wind blew it upwards. And the person that was interviewing me saying, wait a minute, they stopped the interview and they're like, did you just do that? And I'm like, do what? I couldn't see it because I had my back to it. I said, do you have cats? I go, well, yeah, I have 5 cats, but they're all upstairs. I usually don't have them down here when I'm on, because they'd be walking all over the place. But it's not like somebody hit it and it went this way. It blew up because we played back the video afterwards. I'm like, yeah, stuff like that happens around here all the time. But I don't put fidget spinners or twister. Hey, you want to try it? Go right ahead. Yay, capitalism. I mean, someone's making a lot of money off these gadgets, the cat balls. You know how I feel about those.
Yep.
Hey,
spirit
more
balls.
power to you. More power to you. Everybody get mad at me about that, but I do not believe in any of this stuff. I've never needed it. I'm old school. I use. I have it next to me. The best piece of equipment I've ever had was this Sony magnetic tape recorder. It's probably about 30 years old or so. I still use it today. I mean, I have digital ones as well, but I get more evidence with that. But
What?
it's okay. If you want to spend all this money, I don't have it. I mean, like Bill, God love him. He's got tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. I'm like, oh my God. You need a U-Haul just to drive it around. Mine fits in a little case. But that's okay.
Yeah.
If you like
mine
the
fits in
gadget,
a backpack.
I'm not trying to knock anybody that uses this stuff. I don't get people mad at me, but I never needed that stuff. I tell people, if you've got something with some intelligence, it'll be able to communicate. I mean, you got to agree with me. If you don't, let me know.
No, I agree with you that you don't need it. I just like it.
That's okay. Go get your hamster.
I want.
How much do those cost?
Me.
Maybe I'll buy one.
I also like the Simon game, like touch yellow. Like, stop taking the fun out of it, Joe. Maybe the spirits want to play.
They have the Simon game that's all motion censored. It's the round circle, and you put your hand in instead of actually touching the buttons.
Yes, not for nothing, Joe, but you're taking the fun. Like, did you ever think maybe they're bored in the afterlife? Like, maybe they want to play these games with us?
I'm just a killjoy. I apologize to everybody.
Seriously.
Yep.
I'm an old guy now, so I just.
Joe, you saw the extent of my kit. I pulled it out when we did the Ouija presentation. Yeah. Everything that was on that table is what I use.
Yeah, no, I mean it's great. Seriously though, I just hate to see people rather spend hard-earned money on things that are unscientifically unproven.
Right.
I mean, get the salad spoons out. Okay, if you move my salad spoons, I mean, you don't have to go buy. I mean, the spinners I'm sure are very expensive, or the hamster, but some of this equipment is, you're talking $500 to $1,000 for some.
You don't want to spend a couple $100 to have a piece of equipment to show you a ghost humping a bedside?
No, I got the ghost apps for that. That's another question. Do you use any of those ghost apps, Laurissa?
Okay. So that's an interesting question because I'm not really too sold on them, but I have used them and been very like, wow, that's interesting. We used it recently, and I have to say that there's no way. Like, the answers of what was coming out of this app, of what we were asking, was just how? Like, how? In those instances, I have to say that doesn't make sense. There's just no way. So there's got to be something manipulating it. Either the app is that intelligent, the AI is that intelligent that it's really guessing that well, or something's manipulating it that well.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's how I used to feel about the Ovilus. Is I was totally against it because even though it says, you know, you can use it for X, Y, and Z, but it's like, who's to say that someone didn't put a GPS in there?
Read the comments.
To, you know, pull up stories. But we had an incident once where I had left my group, not realizing I left my group because I was playing with this little new toy that we had. And all of a sudden, Death Devil Demon Sacrifice came up on there. And I was like, well, who are you going to sacrifice? And it said, you. And just at the same time, something ran its finger down my back. And it also said alone. That was the other thing. It said alone. And I turned around and realized that I had walked further than my group did. And they were kind of around the corner in another room. And I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you explain that? I still to this day can't explain that.
See, and that's weird in and of itself. And that's like just small, like a small sentence. What we had happen was at least 10 to 15 minutes of intelligent, non-stop activity answering complicated questions.
Okay.
And we were just like, this is just outrageous.
Right.
And it wasn't an Ovilus, it was an app on a phone. And you're just going, and I can't say I'm sold on that. Yeah. And the two people that were there are huge skeptics, and they were just like, what in the, like, the person who even downloaded it on their phone was like, oh, come on. And then as it was going on, they were like, then they were getting freaked out. And then I was getting freaked out. And then the more that it was answering, the more freaked out everybody was getting. So I don't know. I don't have an answer.
And that's a tough call because the phones aren't designed to be EMF detectors. They don't have that type of thing in there. They're not designed to pick up certain communications. So it kind of leaves you wondering. But because of all that, I don't even use them. And I leave my phone in the car when we investigate.
Yeah. We weren't even investigating. We were I'm telling you, it was so bizarre. We weren't even investigating.
Was this at the winery by any chance? Was this at the winery by any chance?
No. This was at Hell House.
Look, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't give any credit to these phone apps myself, but you know,
not normally either.
If you're dealing with an intelligent entity that could manipulate the phone, I have an open mind to that, I guess. I've seen some crazy stuff in all the years, but you know, like the SLS app, you know, with the stick figures and stuff like that. And,
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
The SLS app on the phone, no way. No way. That I don't think that has any credence to it. That's ridiculous. I've gone into home cases where they're like, I'm sitting in my living room and I'm mapping. Stop it right now. What are you doing? Stop downloading.
I mean, some of the equipment is cool, I'll admit. Like, look at the REM pods and stuff. Okay, the stuff that is activated by EMF, but you know, like Heather said, you leave your phone. You know, most people have their phones on them, or they have walkie-talkies, or both. They have electronic devices. All right. I've said this many times, just about every podcast I do. I said, if you want to do a true investigation and get a true baseline, you need to shut the power off. Okay. Ask the homeowner or the business owner, would you mind turning the main off, and let them do it? Don't you touch it, because then you're liable. You know, but see, would you mind for 20 minutes or so? It's not going to spoil the food in the fridge or the freezer. Shut the main off. Let's shut all the juice off that's flowing through. Turn off all your devices. You know, leave them in the car so that you don't even have them with you. You know, you got to, if you really want it, you know, and then if you put out a piece of equipment and it goes off, okay, well, that's interesting, but it doesn't mean there's a ghost there or a spirit. You know, if you look at the world we live in, it's just one big magnet. I mean, the Earth's magnetic field is what protects us from the solar radiation, or would fry. You know, so that even if they go off, I'm like, yes, I'd say, okay, well, what's causing that? And then you'd want to look at a very natural or scientific reason. but no, not many people do that. I won't say nobody does that, but not many people do that. I've never known another investigator or team or anything I've at least seen on social media or television where they'll do that. They'll shut the power off. Just, I mean, if I'm wrong, please jump in here. But you know, and even still, it doesn't absolutely prove it unless, you know, a ghost pops up and say, "Hey, I'm here." You know,
We don't shut the power off. However, we require 2 or more pieces of evidence for something to be considered evidence, no matter what. And we never go only for metaphysical. Even with just me, it's never just what I feel.
yeah, you always want validation from a few sources, and I'll agree. A lot of stuff's like, "Oh, I can't explain that." You know, people will ask me questions. I'll say, "You know, it's a good question. I don't know the answer. I'm not going to make something up." You know, and I'm not embarrassed to say I don't know. None of us know all the answers, and we won't in this lifetime. That's my opinion. You know, maybe.
Well, and the other thing people don't understand is power lines. I know that's one question that a lot of people ask is, are there power lines nearby? But a lot of times they'll be like, no, there's no power lines nearby, but there's power lines buried in the ground everywhere. And that causes that. I mean, granted, it dulls the effect of the EMF coming off the power lines, but it still can go hundreds of yards if it's buried underground.
Oh, yeah.
We just were at Absecon Lighthouse. I don't know if you've been there, Joe, in New Jersey.
No, and but it's on my bucket list now.
I put
I love lighthouses.
A rope, the EMF rope, across the floor, and this thing was lighting up, but it wasn't. It was not staying lit. It was pulsating and then like dancing, and it almost was like kids playing hopscotch. That's what it kind of reminded me of. And I'm watching it and I'm like, this is interesting. And we moved it off of the spot, and then it wasn't doing it in another spot. And then we realized it just was something underneath the lighthouse.
Yep. Yeah. And the other thing too is unshielded batteries, like generic batteries. We had a K2 meter we took on an investigation before we even realized this. And the other investigator who had it, we were sitting there like it was going off, but it was like random. Yeah. So we're like, we don't understand. It was almost like Morse code. So even the investigator said, we don't understand Morse code. So we took the video from it, and we're actually trying to figure out what it was saying, maybe in Morse code. And then he messaged me. He's like, forget the evidence, dump it all. I used unshielded batteries. And that was causing the K2 meter to go off the way it was going off.
And that's a good point, because look at all these old properties you go into, and you don't know what the wiring looks like behind the walls. You know, if it's hasn't been upgraded or modernized, you got unshielded wiring behind the walls. And I've been in houses that still have fuse systems, you know, and you just never know. Now, I'm not saying, because I couldn't say whether it was paranormal or not. I'm just saying you got to consider this stuff before you just start throwing it out there on you know, and I understand if you say that, you're going to lose viewers probably. Because people want to be scared. They want to be.
We don't care about that.
I get it. I don't. You know, and I hope people don't think I'm a jerk, but I don't. I care about real stuff and helping people that have problems that want help.
Yeah.
You know, and I like, and Heather, you and I agree. We like to educate people on what we know. Whether you take it with a grain of salt if you want. I mean, if you don't buy what I'm selling, we could still be friends.
Yeah, you know, we don't say we know everything or that we know it all, or what we know is what's true, but we want to make sure other people have an open opinion about things.
Right. But I mean, if you know, you've been doing this, what, 35 years? I'm almost 40 years. I mean, we got to know something. You know, I was taught by, you know, some really good people, the Warrens. I spent a lot of time with them. You know, I learned a lot on my own through other people. But I'll never know everything, you know. But if you just threw a group together and you've been together for a year or two, and now you think you know everything, and you know, you don't want to buy what I'm selling, it's like, well, look, you know, we tell people if you want to get into this work, that's great if you're in it for the right reasons. But find people that have the experience, that have been around for a while, and learn from them. You know, take everybody's input and then make up your own mind. But, you know, listen, and you know, the old schoolers that I found, the people like me and you and Bill and John and Chris, we've been around a long time. If you ask us a question, pretty much the answer is going to be the same.
Yeah.
You word it differently, but we all have the same, concept of how we do things. And I mean, I do what works for me. You do what works for you. I don't try to push my beliefs on anybody. But if you're closed-minded enough where you don't want to at least listen to the people that have been doing this for a long time, long before the internet and social media and all that, but you got a lot of people out there that are haters. And I don't subscribe to that. I don't get involved in any of that. But, if you don't agree with somebody, that's fine. That's what makes us individuals. But why do we got to hate each other and go after each other in a public forum? Because you both look like idiots, in my opinion. But I'll get off my soapbox now. Dog's going crazy. What's
Cue
going
the
on?
banner.
You see a ghost boy? My dog Casper. What? What are you doing?
I can't with you. What's your cat doing?
He's sleeping.
So what's that noise?
That's the dog, Casper.
Oh, gotcha.
Gotta have a dog named Casper if you're a ghost hunter, right?
Aiden thought you said you had a duck.
A duck? No, not a duck. I've got 5 cats and 2 dogs. And they're all rescue animals. So what? What? Come here. Come here. You want to make your entrance here? Come on.
I know sometimes my dog will lay by my feet and she'll start snoring in the middle of a show. And it's like, oh my God.
He's looking at me like he's got to go outside to the bathroom.
He can wait. We got 45 minutes.
Well, I mean, I want to hear from Laurissa. What do you think? You're newer into this field. You're not a greenhorn anymore, but you're new to the field. What do you think about what we're talking about? I want to know. I want to hear your perspective.
I don't pretend to know anything. I don't ever pretend to know anything. I'm embarrassed by a lot of the early evidence. Honestly,
so were we.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I consider myself one of the most humble investigators out there. I have a show called Para Ops. Joe, I think you've been on it. Where
you've never had me on your show. And I understand why.
No, you got to come on it, Heather. You got to come on it too. It's funny. I mean, it's funny because we keep it light. It's not a serious forum, but we do put our own evidence out there, and we let people come on and judge it. And you tell us what you think of it. But I mean, we're in our 3rd season now, and I'll tell you, this show came about because, oh my God. Like when I went back and looked at our first year of investigating, and even as a medium, I was embarrassed that I would go into a location and read and be think something was paranormal. And then we'd have outside of an EVP or something like that, just something on SLS or, you know what I mean? And then just be embarrassed because it's so easy to debunk. And you're just like, oh my God, that's a mop that it's mapping, or that's the ceiling. And you're just like, or the door frame. And you're like, oh my God, why did I put that in there? So no, I don't pretend to know everything. But I think you learn. And I've never been somebody that goes out and tears the beams or investigators that put out their evidence that, I'm not that person that's screaming, that's dust, when somebody's, I've never been that person.
Yeah.
I'll private message someone and say, hey, you might want to look at that twice, but I won't tear someone apart. No.
Yeah. Yeah. And because of that, that's why we don't, because I have some evidence that I have shared with other investigators, because we have a plan. If we have something that comes across that we think is paranormal, we send it to 5 specific people, and we don't, of course, don't tell them what it is or what we think it is. And then we tell them what they hear or see. And there's been some where all 5 have come back with the exact same thing. Because if photography, for example, I'll send it to 3 paranormal investigators, 1 non-paranormal investigator, and then a photography expert. And we have one photograph that all 5 of them came back with the same thing, that they couldn't explain it. But even though we have that confirmation, we still don't share it publicly, because it's one of those we're almost afraid to, just because we don't want it torn apart. Because in our minds now, we have, you know, myself and my team, which is the 3 of us. So we know it's paranormal. We have 5 people confirming it. It's like, okay, that's good enough for us.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, as somebody I've been torn apart, my evidence been torn apart, you know, it's a crappy feeling, you know, that people do that. But at the same time,
people shouldn't do that.
Right.
They shouldn't. But at the same time, I feel like it is what it is. There's no real way to prove, you know, like there's no real way to prove that it is or it isn't in a lot of these cases. You know, there's so much out there that is not really debunkable, you know. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of the stuff really is in my case, but there's other stuff out there. Like I have a photo from the Civil War Exchange. I'll tell you right now, I can show it to you.
Can you send it to me, please? I'd like to look at it.
I'll send it to you.
Not now. You don't have to do it now, Larissa.
I'll just tell you, there's 100% no way. Like there's just no way. It is a 100% a soldier's reflection to the detail, glowing in blue in the mirror.
Okay,
Taken with a cell phone.
Maybe it is.
Oh no, I am 100%. I'm telling you, I said he walked into the room. I heard his boots. And the person in the room took the picture with their cell phone. We didn't even have the camera ready. It was that quick. And you can see, I even described the scene that he was like holding his cover at his chest, because I was an officer and like I was describing this. And this guy is holding his cover at his chest, like he's humbled to be like, you know what I mean? Like, and saddened. And he is literally standing that way in this picture. It's unbelievable. I'm sorry. I don't think that you could debunk it. So there's stuff
I mean,
like that.
It's good to question, but it's another thing to insult.
Yeah.
I get a lot, Heather, I'm sure you do too. I get a lot of people that send me audios, videos. I had a good friend of mine just send me a couple of videos last night that I still have to look at. And, you know, people will send me pictures of orbs and things like that. Or they'll bring them to one of my presentations and they'll come up and show me. And, you know, I always say, always be kind, be gentle, and be humble. It's like, I just say, you know, this is very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. Do you mind sending this to me so I can look at it more closely on my computer? Even if I know it's dust or maybe a bug or something, you know, because I mean, I don't want to lie to them either, but I don't want to bust their bubble, because I get people come up all excited. Oh, my friends tell me this is dust, but I believe this is. And I'm like, oh, you might have got something there. That's really interesting. You mind sending it to me, and I'll send you my feedback or whatever. And I will, you know, but let them down gently. You know, you don't have to be a jerk about it. And that's what people do. When you ladies are saying people tear you apart, who's got the right to do that? You know, that's the way a lot of people are these days. And, you know, it hurts me to see this in the paranormal world, because this isn't where I came from. I don't subscribe to it. You know, it's like, you know, who are you to tear someone else's apart? Even though you may be sure in your mind that it's not what the other person thinks it is. You know, I mean, I hope people are listening to this, because this is what grinds my gears. You know, it's like, okay, maybe, you know, and these debunkers, I think it's great that you have these guys out debunking stuff, because if there are people faking stuff and putting it out as real, you know, but, you know, but then they get hate mail or hate email, and people are like threatening people with physical harm over stuff like this. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? You know, so, you know, I know, Larissa, you've shared a lot with me, and it upsets me as your friend that people would say these things to you. You know, and I would look at them like, well, you know, who are you to say that? You know, people look at me and say, who are you? I'm like, I'm nobody, but I've been doing this a long time, you know, and I have an opinion, based on knowledge and experience that you don't have. So, people don't like to hear that though, because nobody wants to put into 35 or 40 years. They want instant notoriety and fame, and I have none of that. I don't want anything to do with that.
I appreciate that.
I'll get off my soapbox, but
nobody's threatened me with physical violence, though.
Well,
Joe.
no, but I've seen it. It's happened to people. Nobody that I know. It's never happened to me, of course, but
it's mostly when someone says, hey, you might want to look at your evidence a little bit closer because it's a bug crawling across your Ring camera, and then the person who collected the evidence is the one threatening the violence.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, yeah. It's like the one where you see this light streak. They have Ring cameras in the home, and you see this light streak, and they're all scared, and they honestly think they captured something, and it turns out to be a spider web or a cobweb or something, and it's just the light of the Ring camera reflecting off the web, and it's moving around. I've mentioned that to people. I said, I really think that it's just a spider web. You got nothing to worry about, But I don't just say, "Oh, you're an idiot. It's a spider web." I mean, come on. I might think that, but I won't say it. Just got to be kind of, it's crazy.
People need to lighten up and just remember, the reasons for why they're in this field. And this is coming from somebody who throws events, which, by the way, I just want to throw this out there, for the public. There is no money in events. If you're doing this for money, any of this for money, you're crazy. None of this is for money. I hear a lot of that, people are stepping all over each other to make money. There is no money in the paranormal. The paranormal should be for research. So if you're in it for anything else, you're in the wrong field. You want to make money, go to Hollywood. So people need to lighten up and remember that this is a community, and the community, the word in there that matters is unity, and we should all be doing stuff together and helping each other so that we can research and actually find out what is on the other side, because that's really what this should be about, and helping people who have problems, because there is no other forum or platform for them to get that help.
And I echo that sentiment, and helping those people without a cost.
100. I mean, if you're if there's money involved in this in any way, you're really just in the wrong area.
Well, I've told people through the years, I said, look, there is no charge for what we do. However, if you'd like to donate to the foundation or donate to my team, that money as a nonprofit goes back into the work. I don't say business because it's not a business. Well, I could tell you, I wish my wife was here. We got to have spouses on one of these days, Heather. My wife could attest to that. I mean, I'm in debt up to my eyeballs for the past 38 years of helping people. It's like someone contacts you and you got to go, say I got to go to Pennsylvania. All right. Say you get a case out there and you need my help. I'm there. All right. We might say to the client, can you cover our expenses? And the client, if the client doesn't have the means to do that, well, then I'm not coming. No, I'll be there. I'll figure it out. Because my wife will look at me and she's like, how much is this going to cost us? But, thank God I have her, because she has, to have your family and your spouse behind you 100%, even though they may not like it a lot of times, but to have their support, now Laurel and I met the Warrens together. We were just dating. That's how long we've been married 32 years now, been together for 38 years, but that is everything to me, having that support, behind me, and knowing that, this plane ticket or this, 3 tanks of gas is coming out of my pocket, but what you get back from the knowledge of knowing you've helped somebody, it's immeasurable. You can't monetize that. You can't put a value on that, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. And unlike you, Joe, I've brought my entire family into this, and they're my team.
And that's fantastic. I think that's great. My children, who are all grown now, my twins are going to be 25. My son's 29. I mean, they've always wanted to get into the work, especially Emily, and they're fascinated by it. I'm just very protective, and they do help me with certain things, mostly the technical stuff, like the website stuff. And Emily's helping me build a website. I'm like, yeah, I'm not that technically inclined, but I'm very protective of my family because of what I've been through. I mean, this stuff is real, guys. You know that, but
Right.
there's a lot of people out there that, they may believe it or want it to be real, but when it gets real, they don't want it anymore. It's like, I think it'd be cool to face a demon. It's like demon, because it helps the algorithm helps my placing in Google, search or whatever. Demon house, or a demon attacked me. If a demon attacked you, you'd probably be dead.
Again, if you're out there saying that you don't really have a grasp on the community and the research and what it is to be in this. And I've only been in this for 3.5 years, and I understand that. Right. So, yeah.
But it's all about algorithms, because I have, it's a blog post that is the Hoover Dam, Satan, Demons, Oh My, I think is the title of it. Because there are rumors, and I talked about it on Ghost Adventures, that there are rumors that the Hoover Dam was created in the image of Satan's throne. So I wrote an article diving deep into it, and that is my highest hitting blog post, just because I have the word demon in it. I don't talk about demons anywhere in the blog post.
No, I mean saying, Heather, I want to be attacked by one. No, I mean like then you don't get it. Like that's just not something I would never say. I've run away from that.
It's not fun being attacked. It hurts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And there's nothing wrong with being afraid. It's a natural human emotion. Yep. But
you do not want to be attacked by anything.
No. If I never
but
get
Joe's a
involved
better parent than I am. I've been dragging Aiden to investigation since he was 15.
No. Well,
I take my kid. I do take my kids investigating, but I mean, like just wanting to be attacked by. Like, I don't want to be attacked by a cat, let alone a demon.
Yeah, demon. Believe me, they're out there. They're out there. But people have asked me, I by coming here tonight to listen to you, am I going to have an attachment or something? Like, no. And I said, and if you've ever played with the Ouija board in your life, it doesn't mean you're going to have a problem. I'm not saying that. It's all about the intention. I mean, if you're sitting there with a Ouija board, or even without one, and you're conjuring, and you're looking for, something, like, be careful what you wish for, because if you find it, and now you've got something attached to you, it's not easy to get rid of it.
You're vulnerable to spiritual attack based upon your mental state, based upon your environment, based upon a lot of things. I mean, you don't even really have to be doing anything in the paranormal to be vulnerable. Right. So.
No, that's what I was talking about, those victim souls. That's exactly what I was saying. Right. But there's ways to protect yourself, from being vulnerable. Don't get hooked on alcohol or drugs or pornography. And I'm not even trying to be funny. That's an addiction. No. I mean, it's an addiction. Any addiction, and I learned this from Father Gary Thomas. It's like they say that's a soul wound. It's a soul wound. And I'm not trying to preach here. I'm Roman Catholic, but a lot of people aren't and have different beliefs, and that's fine. I respect that. But if you go looking for trouble, if you're out, in the haunted forest and looking to find something, and then every noise around you becomes amplified. What's that? What's that? And then it's laughable. And people can put their flashlight in the woods, and all of a sudden you see the white face of this woman, and it's always a woman with black hair and a white dress. It's like, does Samara live everywhere?
That's my daughter's name.
Is it really?
Yeah, Samara. It means protected by God in Hebrew.
Well,
so I don't.
Well, you know why I brought it up, from The Ring, the movie The Ring.
Yeah,
This girl climbs out of the well. If she climbed out of my TV and got the floor wet, I'd shove her back in. I mean, that's all cool for movies and TV, but don't go looking for this stuff, and then you get spooked and you're running out of the house. Like the people that go to the Conjuring house just to have the experience of going to the house. I've been in that house when the Sutcliffes owned the house. I didn't have any negative experiences there. I'm not saying there's nothing there. I didn't experience anything personally there. Maybe Laurissa, if you were there, you'd pick up on something, or Heather. I don't
there,
know. I didn't.
I was there and nothing.
Oh, you were there? You had
Yeah.
gone there? Yeah. I mean, I'm going back 20 something years ago. Not recently, not since this circus started. And
I was there
the house.
I was there January of 2022, and I slept in the basement. We were the only team to ever sleep in the basement at the time.
Yeah. Did you actually sleep, or were we just up all night?
I slept in the basement. I had one experience and nothing.
I'm not saying that it's haunted and it's not haunted, but I don't believe in the story about Bathsheba. The stories I've heard about Bathsheba is that she was a good woman and she used to watch others' children. And I don't like the fact that people have made up these stories over the years and slandered this poor woman's name when it probably has nothing to do with her. Could it? Yeah, I guess. I didn't live 300 years ago, but it's just this is where we've gone with this. It's nuts, and it frustrates the crap out of me if you haven't realized by now. And that's when I get on my soapbox. I'm like, stop the madness, people. If you really want to do some research, then listen to the people that have done the research for many years and are still doing it. But it's so easy to set up a YouTube channel and get 11 million viewers, and you look like Justin Bieber, and people love you.
Who's
Bieber?
Bieber?
I'm not mentioning any names. I'll get in trouble there, but
I don't know.
Obviously, if you got 11 million viewers, you're gonna be able to monetize it. Now you got money and you're rich, but you're a fraud. You're full of shit. Excuse my French. Do we have a delay?
We're good.
I'm getting all fired up now. Sorry, folks.
Like I told you last time, there are shows that talk about way worse than we do.
Well, I would never publicly name names or bash anybody, but it's like, stop it already.
Well, I didn't have I had no negative experiences at the house. I didn't feel like anything bad was there. I went in there with an open mind, and guys, guess what? I wasn't terrified either when I was there. I just want you to know that. Good. And I'm terrified usually everywhere. So I don't know.
Look, I know Andrea, and I know that family went through a tough time back in the 70s. And, I wasn't there. I was a little kid, and I know it's possible. And they probably went through hell. But I don't believe there's anything in that home now that probably wasn't brought in by somebody. But God forbid, you say that. Oh, I said it publicly, but that's my opinion. But that it's a cash cow for somebody. Now that's not illegal, but I think it's very immoral.
But as well as I do that, and I do not begin to know the entire story outside of Hollywood. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm probably a terrible person for that, but I never read the books and I don't know the case. Okay. All I was going to say is, that things can come and go. So whatever was there, I mean, who knows? Maybe it went with the family, or
the family might have been targeted. Look at Amityville. Correct. People are like, well, how come people that have lived there since the 70s have had no problem? Well, I believe it was the family that was targeted.
And I was going to say, how many times have you heard a family say that they lived in a home for 20, 30 years? They never had an experience. A new family moves in and they're like, oh my God, this house is haunted. And the old family's like, I lived there 30 years and nothing ever happened to me.
Right. But it may not be the house.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
Families can be haunted. People can be haunted. Objects can be haunted. Yes. Yeah. There are certain objects that are claimed to be haunted today that I believe have nothing attached to them anymore. Maybe they did at one point. Yeah. But that energy is dissipated through the years. But God forbid you say that. You can't say that publicly. Because people get upset with you because they're out making money, a lot of money off of this stuff. And I don't subscribe to that. Yeah. It's just, it's not why I do this work. I do it to help people, period. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't have a TikTok. I'm not interested in it. I got to do some day trading, maybe. What do you think?
Well, I have 98 subscribers on my YouTube. Okay, so watch out.
Yeah, I'm right there behind you with 81.
All right, well,
You're a
I got
threat.
nothing. Look, I'm not trying to insult anybody that has a YouTube channel. I just don't.
I was gonna say, Joe, this show airs on YouTube.
Who would watch my YouTube channel? You guys can't even watch me on this.
I think when I upload it to my YouTube channel, it's one of our top views.
You know what? I laugh at you. I laugh at the whole YouTube thing so much because I tried so hard with the algorithm and I am just not getting it.
You gotta use demon in the title.
No, I will not. I will not stoop to this.
Just start putting whatever the title is, ... It's not a demon.
It's not a demon.
I'm an old-fashioned guy. I was young once, but I use this word a lot. But there's one word, I tell people, and that's integrity. All I have is my name and my integrity, and neither one of them are for sale. I don't care how much money I'm offered. The show Ghost Hunters, I still have the email from Pilgrim Films wanting me to fly out to California to shoot a pilot episode. Maybe I could have had that show, but I probably would have quit because I'm not going to sell my soul, and I'm not going to be tying fishing line to stuff, and I'm not doing it. I'm not going to be a part of it. It's because all I have is my name, and once you've been proven a fraud, that's it. All your credibility goes out the window.
Well, I just went through something with selling your soul for money and all that. We won't get into that, but I will say this: a certain show was at a certain winery that we talked about, and that winery told me that they did find fishing line on their shutters after that certain show left. I'm not talking about the show I just left, by the way. I'm talking about years ago. There was a show.
Color me surprised.
I know.
I know. Look, I know a lot of people in this field, and a lot of good people, like yourselves. I mean, but a lot of people that have been doing this, some of them longer than myself, and we've had conversations, and we all feel the same way. But I'm careful what I say publicly. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but you don't want to say certain things publicly because I don't want to offend anybody. You sure don't want people sending me hate mail, but have some integrity, people. If you want to do this work and your heart's in it for the right reasons, fine. But don't bullshit people and take money for it. That's just wrong. And you know what? You're going to be judged someday just as I am. That's all I got to say about that. Well, not really, but let Heather get a word in here.
I'm used to it. I introduced Joe on my other shows, and he talks the whole 2 hours.
I'm sorry.
However, I did have a guest last Tuesday who beat you. I introduced him, and I just kind of sat there for the whole hour.
Well,
I'm trying to think.
I got a lot to say. I mean, people want to know this stuff. Do we have any questions?
No, they're all quiet. Tammy says hi.
Hi, Tammy. Hi, Tammy. Hey, Alan.
And Joanne was here earlier talking about research, and it's all about the homework.
It is. It is.
But other than that, no, it's all quiet. Our loyal 5 followers tonight.
That's okay.
I go on late. That's probably why.
Well,
if you don't call me back soon,
what?
You better call Tammy.
Who is that, Tammy?
Good luck, Tammy. I have trouble getting him to call me. I was shocked when my phone rang this morning and it was you.
Stop. It's not. Don't take it personally, please.
I was like, holy shit, he is calling me.
I love you. I was going to get back to some people yesterday, but my wife got really mad at me. She's like, did you really need to send that message now? I'm like, well, no, but if I didn't do it now, I'd probably forget.
And that's why I didn't call you.
No, but she's right, though. I don't see my wife a lot. She works nights. She's at work now. I hope she's not listening, but if she is, she's the best.
I get it. Even though Josh works from home, his birthday fell on a Sunday, and we actually went to John's Pass for lunch and to spend time with friends, and he was getting messages from work. And I'm like, dude, stop.
I'm busier now than I'm retired now, but I'm busier now than I was when I was working.
Right.
See, when I was working though, I didn't have the time to spend doing this.
Mm-hmm.
This has become full time for me, and I'm happy to do it. But yeah, Laurissa, Heather, you're on the phone a lot. You're doing a lot of podcasts. You're doing a lot of Zoom meetings. I'm also on the board for my local YMCA, so I've got, meetings there. I actually am busier now than when I was working 12, 14-hour days at a job, but my job is devoted full time to helping people doing this work and educating.
I just had 3 people, on top of 2 other people that I can't say, ask me to be their agent for next year. I am not an agent or a manager. And because of who they are, I said I would help them. So all of the time that I already
You told me no.
No, I told you yes. I didn't want to put you on blast just now.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, or one of the 2. So now I have these people
Heather.
now that help on top of that. I don't even have time.
Yeah. I know. Well, you still have young children. You work full time. I don't know how you do it.
I don't work full time.
Well, you're a full time mom. That's a job, right?
That's a job. That I do full-time.
You guys, I don't know how you and Alan do it. I had twins, and I know what it's like, but it was a long time ago. I used to
He's
push
doing
them through
more than I am right now.
Disney store. Well, hey, as dads, we got to do our jobs, right? That's why I'm a trophy husband. I don't know if Laurel saw that.
I'm going to clip it and send it to her.
Oh, she just rolled her eyes and go, "That's him." See, I tell everybody I have 3 children. She has 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the 4th child. I'm never going to grow up.
Yeah, I always joke with Josh because he came in when Aiden was potty trained. I'm like, you waited till after the dirty stuff was done.
Yeah. No, I was. She said I was the best swaddler. I'd swaddle the babies up, the twins, and they look like burritos.
That's because you were thinking about making burritos.
Maybe. Maybe. Who knows? I've eaten enough of those in my day. Oh, we have fun on this show, don't we?
We try.
It's entertaining, but we like to be entertaining but informative.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Heather's like, yeah, we got to have 2 hours.
1 hour is just not enough for you, Joe.
Come on.
We've tried that before. It doesn't work.
You love it. You love it. Laurissa, did you get to plug everything you wanted to plug? I wanted to give you time to make sure if you want to mention it again, go right ahead, please.
Yeah. And let them know where they can find you to follow more information because we have about 10 minutes left.
Oh, sure. So you can
go over.
I'm going to eat tacos when I get off.
Good.
I have tacos. I can't wait. I'm so excited. You can go to www.3rdproductions-pa.com, and that's my website. You can go to Laurissa Rex on social media. You can find me at Third Eye Productions on social media, Palmer Area Research Alliance, Para Ops, Open-Minded Paranormal Skeptics, The Haunted Mafia. Geez, it's like, did I miss anything? What else is there? I don't think there's anything else.
You got your hands in every cookie jar.
24 Hours in Hell. There's a page for that. Wilson Castle, Paracon, and Roaring 20s Ball and Psychic Fair. There's a page for that.
I'll be there. Get your tickets.
Oh,
Heather will be there.
Joe, we have an event. Stop. We have an event.
Yeah.
You and Bill Slevin. I invited Bill. Don't be mad. When is that?
Is that the one in April?
Yeah, it's Hillview Manor.
Hillview.
Hunting Hillview, April 20th.
Okay.
That one. And then I have Samuel Miller, Dead of Winter Ghost Hunt, March 2nd. Get your tickets on Eventbrite. Go to Third Eye Event Productions Collection. And I have 28 events lined up this year. 28.
So why am I only in 2 of them?
You're in 3 of them. You're in 3
Am
of
I?
them.
Oh well, that must be somebody.
You're in
Heather
3
and
of
I are
them.
trying to. Heather and I are really trying to do something with on top of her book on haunted lighthouses. I mean, it's no secret to anybody that I love lighthouses. I said if they're haunted, it's just a bonus. But in all seriousness, we're trying to do some events at some of these lighthouses. Maybe we can do them to help fundraise money for the lighthouses or whatever. I mean, I don't know, but just to get out there and talk to people and see the beautiful lighthouses and support them. We're really hoping to get a lot of colleges this year, getting around the country more now that we're free to do that. So, if anybody out there is interested in having us come out, let us know, and try to be serious.
Do a Legends of the Lighthouses or something like that tour.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, people are fascinated by haunted houses and paranormal and stuff like that. But there's a lot of people out there that love lighthouses and love the lore of haunted lighthouses, even if they're not really haunted, but just the stories that go with them. And Heather knows, especially for Florida, you would know because you just wrote a book on them.
Right.
So make sure you mention that. Heather's book, Florida's Haunted Lighthouses.
Yep.
You should do something
what
like
are
that.
Yours today?
Yeah, because I know with the next book coming out too is I want to do something if we can. It's haunted Florida ghost towns because people don't realize Florida has over 250 ghost towns, and it's the second most populated state for ghost towns from Nevada in the country. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. You live too far from me, though.
I know. I live too far from everybody. I'm getting to the point where I know we're just starting to research and do our nonprofit for the it's going to be Florida Center of Anomalous Research, and we're going to dive deep into a whole bunch of different things. But then we're also looking into just getting the business license so that way we can host events.
Okay. And where in Florida are you?
We're just between Orlando and Tampa in the Lakeland area.
Oh, all right. That's not bad.
Yeah, we're about 30 minutes from each one, like from the outer borders, but depending on where you want to go, we could be up to an hour away. But we're right in the middle between the two cities.
Okay. So what is your closest airport?
Tampa. But then Orlando or Sanford would be the next closest.
Okay.
How far are you from Orlando? Like an hour? Or?
From the airport, probably about 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were with traffic, we were about an hour from where we had Phantasm.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I don't think they're doing the Phantasm event this year.
No.
I heard they're not, which kind of stinks because, you build up some momentum and then, that was a lot of fun. It's a much smaller event. It just came back from MegaCon a couple of weeks ago. Wow. I've never seen a place that big. There must have been a couple 100,000 people that filtered through there over the 4-day weekend. Talked to a lot of them. I actually almost lost my voice, which I'm sure you'd be happy to hear. I did. I was straining to talk to people. There were so many. Thank God I had Laurel with me because people wanted to hear not as much about haunting, but they wanted to talk about the Warrens. The Warrens as people. Because Laurel's like, well, I don't know anything about the cases. I said, yeah, but you knew Ed and Lorraine. Lorraine loved my wife. She was they were very close. So that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and it was just I didn't get to see any of the celebrities, the Hollywood celebrities, but they were there like Michael J. Fox, William Shatner, Christopher Lloyd, the cast of Princess Bride. It would have been nice to meet some of them, but I wasn't going to wait in line for 3 hours.
Yeah,
but that was a lot of fun.
I'm trying to get Nispicala this year, which is the one that they host in Ocala. But they're also hosting it now at the Tampa Amphitheater, which is only 20-30 minutes away from where we're at. And only because, what's his name? The guy who did the Legions, Eli Roth, is supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And I just would love to meet him face to face.
Are they coming out with another season of that? Do you know?
They're supposed to be, but there's no word on it yet.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Oops.
No, I've heard that they're hoping, but there was no word on it yet.
I was entertaining. I'll say that
Mhm.
much for it. That's probably all I'll say about it. But it's just not how things work, people. But whatever.
Yeah.
Some of them were actually cringeworthy.
Mm-hmm.
But look, when I watch a show and I get secondhand embarrassment, the show sucks.
Wait, what show are you talking about?
I'm not mentioning any names.
I think I misheard you.
I'll tell you offline.
Yeah, I think I misheard what you guys were
It's
talking
like there's
about.
a couple out there I've cringed at.
Yeah, I mean, some things I just get secondhand embarrassment. I'm like, I'm embarrassed for you. But
No, which show were you asking is having a second season?
Legion of Exorcist.
Oh, no, I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah. No, because I know, I would say personally, I know two of them that I talk to often that were the cast of that. And one of them I've interviewed on my show. And I've heard a lot of the stories from that show before the show even aired. Because I had them all on my shows.
That's my buddy Rich, the one who's
Rich,
coming up.
yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yep.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because I've known Reverend Sean forever.
Okay.
We lived in Vegas together, and he helped me on several cases long before I even started doing any podcasts. I was on his podcast, and he was on mine, and he's been a regular. And then Bishop Long and I have consulted on cases as well together. So, and I've heard all these stories that they shared. And so when I'm watching the show, I'm like, oh my God, I know that story. I've talked to them about this story. So it was kind of interesting. But last I heard, there's no word on the show, which usually means that they're not doing a second season.
Oh.
But they're still hopeful, I think.
Well, I mean, it depends on what's popular at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember years and years ago, Ridley Scott was supposed to do a movie on the Warrens' life.
Mm-hmm.
And because this was a long time ago when Ed was alive, because I said, Ed, can I be in it? Can I play a thug or something? And then, a couple of years went by and I said, whatever happened with Ridley Scott? I'm like, oh, something bigger and better came up. So like 1 minute in Hollywood, you're the hottest thing. And the next minute they move on to something else. Mm-hmm. So that all fell through. I don't know the exact story, but I remember Lorraine telling me that it just fell through. And unfortunately, it wasn't until much later in life, after Ed had passed, that they finally had the Conjuring series. I would have loved to see what the movie looked like if Ed had been alive and had his input, but sadly, that didn't happen.
But would Hollywood have taken his input?
I don't know. I don't know. But, he was an amazing man, and I miss him. Mm-hmm. I miss him. And I miss Lorraine too, and I'll say this, I'm not very happy about some of the things I hear about them. If people want to know the truth, call me. Keep your mouth shut if you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. I don't want to get a negative tone here, but if you insult them, then expect to hear from me. Because it's just not right.
Yep.
To attack people's memories that are no longer here to defend themselves. But anyway.
Yep. And on that note.
Yeah, we're over. But anybody want to spend another 20 minutes?
No, I need to go to bed.
Oh, come on.
My eye's hurting.
I'm just getting warmed up. Laurissa, I'll call you.
I got tacos. Eat dinner. I got tacos.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you for having me. It's always nice talking to you. And it was nice meeting you, Heather. Finally.
I know. It's always interesting how this world is today, is you can know so many people, but you never meet them face to face.
I know. I'm glad we finally got to talk.
Yes, exactly. So I'm definitely looking forward. And actually, I have you on my Tuesday morning show in a couple weeks. I think it is, or in March sometime.
I hope you remind me.
I will. Trust me, I will.
Oh, please do. Please do.
But yeah, thank you again for being on the show, and thank you everyone for watching. I'm pulling up our banners right now. You can follow us on Facebook at Passport to the Paranormal, and then we don't have a YouTube channel yet for us, but you can always catch the replays on at Heather Leigh PhD on YouTube. I upload them there within 24 hours of the show airing live every week or every other week, and you can watch us live every other Wednesday on Passport to the Paranormal, Parapost Network #1, or Parapost Network or Parallax TV #1. And then we will be back in a month, just because I'm not sure if I'll be in town for the next one. But on March 20th, I know we will have Philomena Thomas on to talk about Umbra and the Hatman project that she and I are working on. So we'll be talking about that as well.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. She is. She's humorous to have on shows. I've had her on one of my shows, and we had a lot of fun talking on the other one. So that's definitely
a fascinating topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the research we're doing. Oh my goodness, the stuff that I'm finding. Holy crap.
We got to talk about that.
Yes.
Because I want to know.
We're diving more into the statistics and scientific evidence that is captured, not just personal experiences.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Right. Larissa's hungry. We better let her go.
Oh, no. I thought I saw some. No, I'm fine.
Tacos are waiting for me.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you all. Padre, if he's still listening, he probably went to bed. Mm-hmm. I am going to watch some YouTube channels and yell at the TV.
Oh, perfect. I am going to bed.
I'll talk to you ladies soon. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Have a great night.
Talk to you soon.